All right, kids. All right. All right, go ahead and get your redeems in. We'll play the waiting game. We'll play the waiting game. There you go. There you go.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
Any more? Nancy, why are you looking at me like that? Of course I'm here. It's my channel. What the fuck? Hi, boat. That's a good boat. That's a good boat. I'll wait. I'll wait for it to end. What the fuck? Oh, okay. More redeems, more overstem. Oh, good lord. Oh, hi, Ghostfire Tokyo finished downloading. Nice. Nice. All right. The freezes don't work here. It has something really stupid to do with filters, if I remember right. Weird. Sustaining fire! Good morning, Rotten. How are you doing? Not the fucking brick!
Execute my trick.
No, I was checking the thing because
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
there's technically like
We have a
2
city to
instances
burn.
of me, apparently. Here, I can show you. If I do this and I drag to the side. Hi, chats. So the reference form is in front and behind. So there's technically 2 of me on screen at all times. And so it's basically a copy that is having the texture being multiplied onto it. But I can delete them separately. Interesting. Because I set this up a long time ago. A long, long time ago. Flashes to the Marin Pyramid? Oh, right. Was that... That wasn't with this model, was it? That was with a different one. Right? Right? I think. I should go back on the drinks. I'm seeing double. It's noon! Hi, Dandelion. It was with this model? Okay, it was. I couldn't remember for sure. Oh. Okay, I got a little too gung-ho with that drink. I thought I was down to the last bit of gamer subs. There was more than I could fit in my mouth. How come your mom lets you have 2 Marins? Listen, don't worry about it. It's after 19? Okay, it's 7 p.m. I mean, that works. That means you can get up to no good. Ganon double Marins, double the uppies? When has Ganon ever gotten uppies? What 2? Can I have uppies? If Marin 1 is not going to give you uppies, what makes you think Marin 2 is? Hi, Tommy. How are you doing? All right, chat. Real quick. Wait, there's an update for dispatch? Why is there an update for dispatch? No idea why there's an update for dispatch. I'm good waking up. Tommy, it's 1:30 over there. All the uppies into the sun for chatters, but I throw them like a football. Absolutely chucked. Absolutely chucked, my guy. Although, there was another thing I was trying to look at earlier. Because for some reason, World of Warcraft is trending. And I wanted to see why. Seemingly, it's just people posting a bunch of random stuff about World of Warcraft. Apparently there's
Scary
discussion going
skeletons
on.
and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Dun. Oh my goodness. It's 2026. Drink whenever you want. We live in hell. You're allowed to drink whenever you want. I could go grab a bottle of shoju right now and we can take a swing at this game while inebriated. An update for Dispatch. Even the game is drawing you in. That busy romance. Wait, should not be talking about the VR. You talking about the busy romance? You know, the one that's still like 4 weeks out? Is that the one you're talking about, Sunstar? Is that the one? To fix the previous update? Well, that's usually the case. I've seen the other updates that they've put out, which is like usually very small mechanics or very specific jobs that you do in the game that need to get like rearranged. What the hell? Oh, okay. I see, says the blind man. But... okay, I don't think that's anything of interest. Yeah, people are just showing off art of their care. Oh my god. What the fuck is this? Baby Zalatath gets dusted? What? They Ash babied Zalatath in one of the WoW cutscenes? What? Because it looks like one of the like overly artsy like cutscenes that they started doing a couple expansions back. And that's a baby. I'm gonna have to go look up what cutscene came out for Midnight, even though I don't play WoW anymore. But how are you doing today, Chad? What trouble you? Put the brick down, Cannon. Where did you get a brick? We don't have stray bricks. 12 scam calls at the same time, all different numbers. At the same time? Yikes, my dude. Like, were they local or were they like really random? Also, can y'all hear my laundry machine through the wall? Viva la uppies? You're not getting uppies, you fucking dork. Different area codes too. Yikes. Yikes. God, I hate spam calls, dude. It's worse when you get spam calls when you're looking for like jobs or anything or expecting a phone call. Because my phone at this point basically marks everything as potential spam. It even marks my fucking pharmacy as potential spam. Can't hear the machine. Add a brick. Continue bullying Discord. It's working. True. I've heard they've already walked back some of the stuff. Also, bad at multiplayers. Thank you for the 15 stream streak. I'm tired and pissed off, but I'm alive. Agreed. I went to bed at 8 o'clock. I ended stream, laid in bed for a little bit, stared at the ceiling, and then I turned off my PC and went to bed. I did nothing after stream. And then I woke up at like 1 a.m. Couldn't fall back asleep. So I was like, fuck it. I'll get on my phone. And I had the idea, why don't I start posting art to Reddit? And then I realized, okay, listen, chat. I have a personal account on Reddit that is 14 years old. It hit 14 years old like 2 weeks ago. And I used to think that the goofy Reddit mod like meme was over exaggerated until last night when I tried to post art and stuff to different subreddits, and more than half of them instantly deleted them for various dumb as shit reasons. I had 2 places say that character's boobs are too big. That's not safe for work. My guy, they're fully clothed. It's fine. Just give us your face. We want your face. So you can be trusted. Don't trust us. And totally not after we had a data breach of 70,000 IDs. What was it? Like 2 months ago? Something like that? Maybe it was later than that. It shouldn't be louder than me. I mean, it was a little loud, but like We're just going over suing them for stupidity? Nah. Nah. It's not worth it. It's a fucking subreddit, dude. The thing was, I was like, I can only think of one reason that they would be deleting this. As like, are the boobs too big or something? And so I went and looked through other posts on the page. And I was like, well, these characters all have huge boobs too. Why is mine getting deleted? And so I messaged the mod team, and the mod team messaged me back in like less than 10 minutes. And was like, yeah, the boobs are too big. That was it. That was the only reasoning I got. Then I found out apparently the r/manga channel is in fact not all manga. It's only official manga. They don't let people post their own manga and stuff. And they thought I was soliciting for help in making more manga for some reason. Like the third of the 3 reasons they gave me was like, we don't actually allow solicitations for artists. I was like, I didn't solicit anything. It had a source for who made it. That's why I haven't made a Reddit account. Fuck that. And I've said I had my account for 14 years. My personal account for 14 years. The other one's like 3 years old? 2 years old? I think it's 2 years old. The actual VTuber account is like 2 years old. That I was posting from. But fuck, man, I hate posting on Reddit. Posting fucking sucks. I mean, it's a good place to like see art and stuff, which is usually what I use my personal account for. I follow like 99% just r/imaginary something, which is usually like imaginary horrors, imaginary like Warhammer. And it's just people's like fan art of different things. That's why I lurk. I usually do too. There's a Byzantine bureaucracy, but the Byzantium is primarily autofellatio. Oh, good Lord. God, it just fucking sucks, dude. Thing was, I also have like limited art on my phone, so I only posted like 3 different things, but I tried to post it across multiple subreddits. And Reddit has the like cross-posting feature, which would usually let you post once and then cross-post it to other places. 90% of fucking subreddits have that shit turned off. So cross-posting is fucking useless. Hi, Byzant. How are you doing? Imagine being like, here's the feature that we think is really cool that'll let you post to a bunch of your favorite subreddits all really quickly. And then most fucking subreddits are just like, nah, that's stupid. Banned. Alive, boss? I am alive. I am alive. All right. It's like Discord's forwarding, though slightly better. Yeah, pretty much. It is basically like that. It functions very similar to like a repost, like a Twitter or a Blue Sky repost. Oh, hold on a second. What is this? Okay. Let me get the game open just so that we can at least swing over to the screen that it's at. Where are you? There you are. Repost is fine because it's just the post in full. Quote posts are basically cross-posting. Yeah. Yeah, quote posting. That's what I was thinking. That's what I meant. Oh my god, it's Tango Gameworks. Let me do this. Thingy. Stuff and things. Also, it looks like it's already set to game audio. Okay. We ready to get scared, chat? Hey, I haven't had the time to make any of those things we were talking about in Discord. Why is it still black? Why is it still black screen? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. That was weird. Warnings in like 12 different languages. Jesus. Oh. out of memory trying to allocate rendering process. Make sure your video card is... What? Okay, hold on. Hold your horses. We'll do the thing where nobody touch anything. Nobody move. It's on the wrong monitor, but we'll fix it in a minute. Hi, Tango Gameworks. Welcome back. Even though you got shut down. God damn it! Why? Okay, won't touch anything. Let it do its the whole thing. Because it usually does this when it's like compiling shaders in the background. But maybe because I'm clicking too fast or something, it's like stressing it out. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Wait, this looks darker now. Why do you look darker? Fucking damn it! Why? Properties. Updates installed. Game versions. It doesn't make any sense. This game like hasn't been played since, well, I can't check now, months, and it hasn't had an update since October 2023. So there's no reason it should be. Let me check some things real quick. Close that. Close that. I never started the Twitter stream. Okay. That's what I was forgetting. I was sitting here like staring at things and I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Did you get heavier since? No. I wanted to see if there was a way that I could change the settings like outside of certain things. But it doesn't look like it has a way to.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
Try it one more time. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to touch anything until we get to the main menu. The thing is, though, is it keeps crashing at... What's your pleasure? What's your fear? Photosensitivity warning, and it crashed again. What the fuck, dude? What do you mean you're out of video memory? It shouldn't exhaust the VRAM. Lowering game resolution graphics settings, closing background apps, updating GPU drivers. Other solutions include verifying file integrity, increasing virtual memory paging file, and disabling overlays. Okay, hold on. Is there a way to change game settings outside of the game? Because I can't even open it to change the settings if it does this. Do I have to go to like the config file? How can we reset game settings outside of the game? You'll have to delete the config file. Okay. By random number generators? Listen, it's better than like Hebrew where they didn't have vowels. Tango GameWorks. Okay. Adjust resolution graphics and display settings here or delete files dot save. Could also use NVIDIA GeForce Experience to adjust graphic settings. Let me see if I can do that. Wait, I thought I had. Is that built into the NVIDIA app? Raggle fraggle. Raggle fucking fraggle, dude. Thou's nine desire whomst? What do figs have to do with this? I don't know. I kind of do wish I had figs, though. Fake shit is expensive. Let's go to library. Good Lord, no, do not use OBS in here. Hide program. There it is. There's Ghostwire Tokyo. Okay. RTX. RTX off. Jesus. How do I... Wait, why can't I turn you off? And its resolution is set to 2560 by 1400? No. Off, 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 off. Smooth motion. Max frame rate on. Okay. Bring this down. It still hasn't turned off RTX. God damn it. How low do I have to bring it to turn off RTX? It won't turn off ray tracing. I have to go to the lowest settings physically possible. And it still doesn't change the resolution. What? Update. Okay, we'll forcibly change those settings that way. And then let's go try and see if we can open it. I'm actually going to use the GTX NVIDIA thing to open it. So let's see. Nobody move. Wow, they really want you to use the fucking RTX. Ooh. Oh, there it is, moving all of the fucking everything. And it broke again. Great. Great. So that was useless. That was useless. But it moved everything like the Steam one didn't move. Come on, dude. That's an entirely different Tango GameWorks screen. What the fuck? Why is it in a spotlight? Don't crash. Motherfucker, dude. I also don't understand why I can't adjust the settings specifically. In here. Oh, where did it go? I put it at the top. Like, there's current values, and I can look at them, but I can't fucking change them, apparently. Display mode. Borderline windowless. Shrink it to 1920 by... Okay.
What's your plan?
pleasure what you fear. Hi, Kilda. And then let's try opening this. Starting game, synchronizing cloud. I am going to get this motherfucking thing to work. I swear to God. Oh, that's also, wait, how many different Tango Gameworks intros are? Holy shit, he ate the fly. Why? Why? This game is years old. I should not be having the problem that I had with Marvel fucking Rivals. Fine. Fine. Today is the fucking tech troubleshooting day, chat. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna figure this shit out. Verified game files launched again. Fixed it for me. Let's try that. Let's try that shit. Install verifying integrity. Because if this is a Windows 11 thing, I wouldn't doubt it. But 79 XTX, 4090. Which one's mine again? 4070 Ti is what I have. Set level streaming to auto, otherwise you run the risk of memory leak. What the fuck is level streaming? This person doesn't specify. That's their whole post. Level streaming. Game optimization technique for Unreal Engine breaks the large game world into smaller, manageable sublevels. Dynamically loads and unloads these sections into memory based on the player's location, allowing for massive, seamless, high performance. Okay. But can you even change that for one game? This person doesn't specify. They just dropped that at 8:30 in the morning on November 22nd and left. Let me see, how's Steam doing? 450 files successfully validated. Okay, hold on. Let me see, here's another one. This person was doing it with the 1060. This is an absolutely unoptimized Unreal Engine 4 game on an Epic launcher. You've experienced much of what everyone else is bitching about from the launch of this. Try these fixes. Especially the DX11 launch, deleting the intro videos and the Potato PC booster guide. The thing is my computer's fucking great. Oh, okay. This is basically to delete the Bethesda splash screens and all of the Tango Gameworks ones. I played the console version. Thing is, I've played this on Epic Games and on Steam. I have it on both. But like, I could go delete those, but I really don't think it does anything. Essential improvements. Delete intro videos. What can I do if Ghostwire Tokyo keeps crashing? The thing is I've played this game before with no issues. Oh man, get the game working. That's actually a pretty close fucking bet. Windows game mode. Select this is a game when it prompts you. Make sure you're an administrator. The controller plugged into the PC. Unplug the controller before launching the game. Check your antivirus software to ensure that Ghostwire Tokyo is added to the exclusion. Reinstalling DirectX runtime libraries may resolve this issue. You can find more information here. Slash JK. I turn off the computer. We're done streaming for the day. Oh, here's one from Drivers Easy that says it's solved. The thing is, I've never had issues before today opening Ghostwire Tokyo. It also legitimately makes no sense to need to update my graphics drivers for this. For a game that hasn't had an update since 2023. All right, let's try this one more time. After the file integrity. Welcome back, Tango. The thing is, I don't even hear my computer ramp up or anything. And there it is. The resolution is low, game. Why are you like this? Here, you know what? Let's put it in windowed mode and let's reduce it down to, oh, I don't know, 12 by 80, 12 by 800. I've made it so that the fucking settings are quite literally rock fucking bottom. This doesn't make any fucking sense, game. It's doing the same thing. I had an issue with Marvel Rivals that just eventually fixed itself, and it still crashes. Wait, what the hell? There it is. Change that back, because that shit didn't make a difference. Bring back the fucking web page. Crashing video RAM. Fatal error. Steam. Snowball fatal error. Try lowering the resolution and or closing other applications that are running. Keeping fatal error measure instantly crashes the game. Is there going to be a patch for this? Is there any kind of fix? I've already tried to reinstall graphic drivers, though it worked. It was only for a moment before it started giving me the same error. I would hate it if the game turned out to be permanently broken for me. For me, ray tracing seems to be a problem, so I turned it off. No more crashes.
Making a mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over every egg.
Here, I'm going to try something real quick. Open Task Manager. Let's put it somewhere where it's going to be visible when I try to open the game. Let me actually do something else here really quick. I'm dropping the settings all the way to off. Everything as low as physically possible. And then we'll hit play. Hide that, hide that. 60% memory usage. 59. 59. It's still holding steady at 60. And then it crashes. It doesn't go above 60%. It doesn't go above 60% and it still crashes. Why? Why do you do this? Run a full Windows update. Run clean reinstall of latest NVIDIA drivers. Oh my God, is it a BIOS update? Oh my God, I think it's a BIOS thing. Fuck. Like the thing is I don't think they updated my BIOS when they gave me this pre-built PC. So it's like it's the default, which I think is a couple years old. Because I don't think I've ever done a BIOS update on this computer. Fuck. I did two things. Re-imaged Windows 11, turn off RGB game integration for Corsair iQOO. That is an interesting choice. Trying to look and see if there's of updating her equipment. I usually do. When it like pings me and stuff, I usually update like my graphics. But updating BIOS is such a fucking pain. Yellow or more darker / yellow orange. With this lighting, it's kind of darker, but it's like, here, we can do this. It's pretty gold. It's like a soft gold. Some people are also saying apparently it's due to a specific update from NVIDIA drivers. Fix all Ghostwire Tokyo crashing 2022. I don't understand. I don't think you can't update game drivers during a stream, right? It crashes OBS if I remember right. I want to jump off a bridge. The last update I did was the January 5th update. And apparently there was another one on the 27th. Install now to optimize Arc Knight's infield, High Guard, and Arc Raiders headwind update. Asus G14 may freeze on startup when Asus Ultimate Mode is enabled. What the fuck? Let's try something else real quick. Manage properties, files, browse files. Come here, Snowfall, content, movies. I could probably delete all of these. Actually, hold on, let me go find that other thing again. Let me find it. Oh no, that just makes it faster. Rename or remove the following files. Oh, also changing the name of the movies folder would also do the same thing. Oh, well, then there's somebody in German saying something that I can't read. But I don't think that would actually do anything for the usage. I think this is a fucking BIOS problem. Why does any game make you update your BIOS? If the BIOS turns your computer on, I should never be made to think about it ever. I will never understand why BIOS updates aren't fucking automatic. Why? Why do they make them the most convoluted bullshit imaginable? Nothing is easy when it comes to a BIOS update. All right, guys, remember to download the image file of the newest BIOS update. And then you're going to have to turn off your computer and hold very specific keys that are different to every single type of motherboard you have. Sometimes it's going to work. Sometimes it's not. If it doesn't work, then just turn the computer off again and restart it. Yeah, sure. I can translate if needed. I don't think it's going to be anything different because it was only in the section that was like, delete these videos. But I really don't think it's going to do much of anything. That's the game launcher. Let's see if we can do anything with this. Properties. I don't think I want to run this in compatibility mode. Run this program as administrator? We can try that. See if that does anything. And click file. Bethesda. Hango works. And dead. Why? Why? Why is a game that came out in fucking 2020? Wait, 2022? March 24th, 2022. So I played this game before I started streaming. That's why I was like, I don't think I've played this entire game on stream before, have I? Is there any way to check your like BIOS settings? Or not settings, but like BIOS version? Let's look it up. System information. Jesus, why are you so wide? BIOS version. American Megatrends International. 10/27/23. SM BIOS version 3.6. Product is the Pro Z790 Wi-Fi. 32 gigs of RAM. Available physical RAM. Total virtual RAM. Roughly 34. Available virtual memory. 6 gigs? Yeah, it has the information on here. But here, let me move this over here real quick. Pro Z 790 dash P Wi-Fi BIOS update MSI. ASMR PC fix. More like ASMR PC rage. Newest BIOS update. How to flash BIOS. Okay. ME firmware. Do I need to download the firmware versions? The thing is, though, it says I have MSI. What is this? MSI Center, but it doesn't open anything. From within Windows using the vendor's flash utility. I think it works too, is like you can find it in your downloads folder. How's the weather? I don't give a shit about the weather. Updates. Updates, fine. How's the weather? I am full of rage, please and thank you. Because nothing ever works properly. Well, guys, I'm really looking forward to playing a brand new game. Well, not a brand new game. A game that I love so much and really want to share with y'all. Regardless of how well it does. And then it doesn't work. And it's over 3 years old. I'm downloading MSI Center, updating MSI Center right now. I don't remember if this thing actually updates BIOSes, but we'll see because it's technically came downloaded on the computer. I would kind of hope it would, because I really do like softwares that kind of like download, what do you call them? Firmware updates and stuff. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice when those exist. Yeah, I'll never understand why they make certain updates like so crucial for certain things, but then like make them so hard to do or unknowable to the average user. The thing that's worse is I'm not the average user. I'm an above average user, and I still fucking hate it. I'm not a professional. I'm just barely above average. Dark clouds gather over the carnival, thunder roars overhead, lightning flashes and strikes the least liked clown. The ringleader's having PC issues. That's exactly how it is. The computer problems took the fish. Oh, were the fish not working? Yeah, I think it disconnected. Fish. Oh, no, it's still working. I'm still waiting for MSI Center. Wait for UI elements initialization. Okay, so whoever knows updating BIOSes, do I just need to grab the BIOS file from the website? Or do I need to get the BIOS file and the ME firmware file? It does say that it updates ME to numbers. Fixed fan settings will be changed after selecting exit without saving? Huh? Did Woozer get their refund? Woozer? On the wheel spin, I redeemed. I don't need Marion wanting to cause me bodily harm. Did you? Oh, you did. Now we'll spin it. We'll spin it. It's fine. We'll get to whatever it lands on eventually. It's Chef's Club. All right, we're watching Chef's Club. Hold on, I'm signed into the wrong account. Nah, Chef's Club is fine. Big Bites Breakfast. Bella Italia Bites. I kind of want to see them butcher Italian food. Gamer's Kitchen. Oh no. Nah, let's piss off some Italians. And this is already awful. Oh, it crashed. Oh, wonderful. How delightful. Let's try opening it again. Well, that was fast. Basically instantly. Check health status for important hardware parts. Hardware monitoring? Nope. Features? No, that's definitely not it. Hey, chat, I have a question. How hot is the CPU supposed to be? Like, what's the average temperature CPU supposed to be? Here, let me check. 14700 KF. Yeah, i7 14700 KF. 0 Kelvin? That's no. No, Black Dragon. Is healthy? Okay, never mind. We're fine. We're fine. Support live update. Scan. Network drivers, chipset drivers, Bluetooth drivers, Wi-Fi drivers. Serial I/O drivers, Intel ME drivers. I really shouldn't try and download these while we're live, right? Right? That's probably the case. Let me check something. BIOS UEFI. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this program does that. It does have the Intel ME drivers, which are shockingly large file difference. Version 2319 point blah bitty blah bitty blah to version 2425. That is a version difference of 106. Most of these other ones are like very little difference in versions. Except apparently I don't have any Bluetooth drivers downloaded. Actually, that kind of makes sense. MSI recommends? No, that's something else. No, that's also something else. Have the USA have global communications? Huh? Because best I can do is make a funny? That makes sense. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It kills the stream. That's what it does. Also, we're about to have the ad break, so let's do a little swapping around here. Oh, I opened the wrong thing. And let me do this. Waiting. There it is. Okay. Well, the thing is, I now know what I need to do, but doing it kills the stream. Wait, they're over? Oh. You know what? Fuck it. We ball. Install. System reboot is mandatory to complete BIOS driver / software update. Do not shut down the system during installation process. Also, hold on, let me check something. Version. How to flash the BIOS. SOP download. Still on the other side? I don't know if I'm going to come back. We'll see. But I'm trying to figure out if I want to download the BIOS thing off the website just to make sure. Actually, hold on. Let me look at the motherboard to make sure this is the right one. It looks like the right one. Okay, yeah, that's definitely the right one. Visual scan. And Mara got sliced. BIOS drivers. Version 10.1.19. Okay, yeah, these actually do all look like the right ones. ME firmware update. Do you need a good scientist to peer review you? I will strangle you where you stand, Mara. Strangle where? Took my kitty match? Okay. Do you want me to start a game until probably downloading these kills the stream, chat? Or do you want me to, because when it goes down, you'll just end up failing. Or do we just want to click the download and see what happens? Also, where are the tech people? I asked a question. Do I need to download the newest BIOS? Or is using the MSI Center and downloading the Intel ME drivers enough? Or do I need to grab the most recent AMI BIOS? Matrix! Oh, damn it. We lost our tech genius. Sunset with my kitty. Community quote of the day. I already posted in the quote channel in Discord. You don't know how to do the BIOS, Sunstar? I guess I might as well download it. It doesn't really do anything until you... I didn't even pin it. I meant take a picture of it and put it in the Discord. All right, let's unzip this. Shut up. Don't worry, that was just Rinrar being annoying. Okay, AIO file. Can I open you? Can I open this text file? This is AMA BIOS release. BIOS fixes the following problems. Okay. And then turns into Chinese. Oh, wait. Bring me back that notepad. So I'm guessing the only thing I need here is the .aio file. Is that correct? Usually just game optimizations, yeah. Okay, so at least I have the AMA BIOS downloaded. Let me do this, do this. All right, chat, I'm going to go ahead and click the update on all of these things. And then maybe if it opens the BIOS, I'll try to like download that. Or maybe I'll try to get it to download. Let me see if I can look up really quick. How do you open BIOS on an MSI? On MSI motherboard. Okay, spam delete key. Got it. All right, kids. Let's see what happens. Let's see at which point I get a minor heart attack when my screens go black from starting the install here. Sets PC on fire, Marin's PC, or just a random one? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'll probably see y'all on the other side. We may go long.